Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of GreatMillStone, and honors to your brothers out there in the highways and the byways teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And I pretty much just want to cover this article here from the All News Pipeline. And the title is World War III Battle Lines Are Drawn. Was Russia and China's Vostok 18 a dress rehearsal for conquering NATO signified their de facto alliance against the United States? New Russian super weapons would be used as the tip of the spear. Alright, now you got an image here, and it says World War III, and you got Russia and China highlighted in red, and then you got NATO highlighted in blue. Okay, and it shows you, in the Far East, America, siding, with Japan included, coming up against China in the Pacific, and then you got war there in the Middle East, and then you also got the conflict going into Europe, which I would highlight that the epicenter of World War III is going to be down there in the Middle East. All right, what the scriptures call the Valley of Jehoshaphat. All right, but the battle lines are not only going to be in the Pacific and in Europe. There's going to be a lot more battle lines than that, because it's not just going to be Russia and China versus NATO, which is America and the NATO allies. It's going to be a world war. All right, that's why you got something called US. All right, and there's going to be a lot more nations on the side of Russia, including China. Should be called a unified. There we go. Unified. It's called a unified combatant, whatever. And there you got U.S. Northcom. Well, the enemies of America are going to be fighting them in America and Mexico. So you got U.S. Northcom. There's going to be battles there. U.S. PATCOM, which that you could already see that heating up in the South China Sea, so forth. All right, U.S. Southcom is going to be fought in the Americas. All right, and that's why the American military has bases and men spread out in all these different areas, because this is the World War III is the battle for an empire, and right now it's a global empire of America and NATO. You got the US EU which is on the chart we saw. Then you got US Africa, so they're gonna be fighting in Africa. There's gonna be fighting in Africa between the allies of America, the American army, and Russia and their allies. Then you got US CENTCOM, which is going to be the main theater. So there's going to be multiple theaters of war. This is going to truly be a world war fought in multiple theaters. All right. And it's going to be the war to end all war. And the war is going to be brought forth to not only bring an end to the rulership of the so-called white man and the end of his world, but also to usher in a new world, wherein the Israelites, beginning with Yahweh Shai, the King of Israel, are in rulership. All right, and the war is gonna be for the judgment of men, and when I say men, I also include women. the judging of men, of the wicked. All right, and that World War III is going to lead to a lot of death, unprecedented death. All right, as is the nature of war. And this is 2 Corinthians 15:1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." So we have, as a heritage, the Bible is a book which contains many prophecies for these last days. All right, and it was the intention of the Lord that these words be written on paper and be preserved for our learning, for our faith. All right. Now, Lord said this: "Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee." Because you got many people that speak against the words of prophecies that we speak. They spoke against the prophets back then, and they're speaking against the prophets right now. Okay, yeah, cool. And they're speaking against the prophets right now. Yeah, a lot of people, when we speak about World War III, martial law, the mark of the beast, which is the implantable RFID chip, right? The so-called white man going down into slavery, the return of Yahushua. When we speak about all these different things, a lot of people come up against what we're saying because they don't believe. They don't believe. That's what the word incredulity means. Credulity, or to be credible, means believable, truthful. So incredulity is unbelief. The scripture says, "Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee." We are not supposed to be shaken and stirred by the unbelief of the masses, because they're not supposed to believe beforehand. That's the thing you got to understand. The only ones that are really supposed to believe beforehand is the elect. The rest are going to be believers, but they're going to believe in the moment. They're going to believe the prophecy, not before, but after and during. That's when they're going to understand. When these things actually come to pass, that's when all the blocks are going to fall in place in their mind, and they're going to be like, oh. And thus they're going to know that there was a prophet among them. All right? Then it shall be known who art his chosen. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And the unfaithful represents the ones of our people who haven't been given the ears to hear and the eyes to see. The special gift of faith. Right? Which represents what? Those who are not of the elect. Because the only ones who are going to believe in Yahushua, believe in his testimony, believe in the things which are written, truly believe, is the elect. That's a special gift. That's a sanctification. Belief in this truth is a form of sanctification. In fact, let's get that real quick. All right? To be sanctified, to be made holy. Belief in this truth makes you holy. All right? This is 2 Thessalonians 2:13. But we are bound to give thanks always, all right, to the Most High for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because God hath from the beginning, all right, from the beginning. What beginning? From the beginning of this enterprise of the Most High, from the first that the spirits were created. It was ordained that a special group of spirits, which is the elect of Israel, were going to be preordained to this sanctification, to this gospel. Because this gospel is a sanctifier. This gospel baptizes, it sanctifies. But it's only meant for a particular group of people. Chosen you to salvation through sanctification of the spirit and belief of the truth. So belief of this truth, having faith in this truth, brings what? Sanctification of the spirit. Okay? So the ones that are gonna die, that are gonna be judged in the time to come, viciously and violently judged, are the ones of our people, all right, who don't believe. And then add on to that the heathens that are just slated to be destroyed any damn way. The chaff says, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And all these things come with war. And they're going to come in its perfection with World War III. World War III is going to bring everything you can think of. Martial law, disease. Yeah, because let's not forget, you got during war, you got breakdown in infrastructure. That means you get breakdown in sanitation, so you get diseases anyway. But let's not forget, you got biological weaponries that these nations possess. That's why the scriptures speak about, hey, part of the curses, you're going to get pestilences that's not even written in the book. You understand? All right. What else comes with war? What goes hand in hand with war? Famine. You don't believe me? Go look up World War I. Go look up World War II. Right here in Europe, you had people cannibalizing. Oh, they don't like to talk about that. But it's the truth. Right here in Europe, so-called white men were eating themselves during World War II. All right? Famine. Death and destruction. There's going to be a great destruction. World War III is going to be the most destructive of all wars ever. And why is World War III going to happen? Is it because of the Illuminati? No. World War III is going to happen because it's the judgment of the Most High on the earth. It says, for wickedness have exceedingly polluted the earth. This is the key. Before any cause and effect, understand the one thing, that the reason these great judgments are going to come across the face of the earth is because of the wickedness of the people. Yeah, transgenderism, feminism, adultery, murder. And when I say murder, I include abortion, idolatry. The list goes on of evil. And their hurtful works are fulfilled. And that's what we're witnessing. We're witnessing this world filling up its measure of wickedness. Just as the ancient Canaanites, they had their measure of wickedness that must needs have been fulfilled before the Lord brought judgment. This whole earth has a measure of wickedness that must be fulfilled before the Lord brings those final judgments, which are right around the corner. It says, therefore saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Right? Meaning wickedness is more and more in broad daylight now. People are not ashamed to commit all manner of wickedness in the daylight. Neither will... there was a time when homosexuality was done behind closed doors, man. In the closet, as they call it. All right? They used to, there's a time here in the UK where these homos would have to meet up in certain secret places, in certain public toilets, and now boy, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, because it's a form of suffering to witness these things that are happening on the earth, man. That's a form of suffering. You got to suffer that. You got to have patience, man. In which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And therefore saith the Lord, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. All right? Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. All right, and that represents America. But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm and smite Egypt with plagues as before. And that's talking about spiritual Sodom and Egypt, which is America. And will destroy all the land thereof. And that's going to be one of the the key moments of World War III, the complete and utter destruction of America. Egypt shall mourn, and the foundation of it shall be smitten with the plague and the punishment that the Most High shall bring upon it. They that till the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting and the hail, and with a fearful constellation. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So great chaos is going to arise upon this earth, internationally and intranationally, meaning domestically. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, which was the main example of that pride, LGBT. In fact, the actual name of the LGBT movement is Pride. And every year, these different cities, they have what's known as Pride Week. The scripture says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So how much more say these women? A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread. Yeah, because there's going to be famine. There's going to be a lack of goods and resources because of the war, because of the breakdown in the system, and for great tribulation. All right. Now, I want to read this article because this article shows you, as the scripture said, that Gog and Magog prepare. In fact, let me get that on deck. Wow. All right. It says, now let's read this. Now it says, World War III battle lines are drawn was Russia and China's Vostok 18 a dress rehearsal for conquering NATO. You're damn right it was. That's what these drills are for. These drills are preparation for the real thing. That's what a boxer does. When a boxer has an upcoming fight, that boxer does drill after drill after drill, so that when they go into the actual fight, they know what to do. Yeah? You go, like there's this couple fights coming up. IFL TV, you got Demetrius Andrade. He's coming up, he's fighting for the WBO championship because should be on my, but Ramon did see these videos. I ain't seen this video. Oh. Right, you got my man Demetrius Andrade. Right, and you gonna see him going through drills. They call this what, the public workout?
Progress.
But this is what he's been doing for the last 6 weeks. Yeah, these are drills. Now he ain't in a real fight right now. This is a drill. And the purpose of the drill is so that when the real fight happens, which he knows is gonna happen, he's got the date. It's become second nature to do these combinations. Yeah? This is what you see the different nations doing. They're doing drills in preparation for World War II. That's what you see Russia doing. That's what NATO's been doing. Alright? And they're actually drilling to attack each other. He ain't doing all this for his health, so to speak, for having a good time. This man here, Andrade, he's getting ready to go to war. So you gotta do these drills. Right? And it's no different. It's no different in this regard. It says Russia's Vostok 18, the largest military exercise of the 21st century. These guys are putting time and money into these exercises and these drills because of the real and present danger. Because they know that they're right now, they're locked into a proxy war. They're locked into trade wars, right? And neither side is willing to back down and humble themselves. So what is the ultimate outcome? Eventually, they're going to have to duke it out at dawn. They're going to have a shootout, and the winner takes all. When you got Russia on one side, who do no longer want to play second fiddle to America as a superpower, and America on the other side, who don't want to relinquish the hegemony and the power that they have already and share that power with the East. When these two sides cannot negotiate, and when they can't outright beat each other by any other means, there's only one thing that is inevitable, that the Most High set up to happen. These two bulls, because there's a whole saying on the islands, you can't have two bulls in a one pen. You can't do it, man. Them two bulls are gonna war, and these two bulls are gonna war. Just as prophecy has dictated, and it's inevitable. Everything you see happening geopolitically and economically is leading both these nations to the ultimate inevitable future of outright and complete war. Everything you see, if you have understanding, and you can see that there's only one solution to this situation that we find ourselves in. Winner takes all. Because there is no middle ground. With Esau, there is no middle ground. That's the way Esau is. He wants it all. Esau don't believe in peace, man. All right, this is the largest military exercise in the 21st century, conducted in September 11th to 17th. So that's last month. Passed, little noted, and less understood by Washington, and press fixated on now Justice Kavanaugh's adolescent sex life. So the press was mainly pushing out that bullshit from that nasty hole that, you know, these guys paid off to it's all set up. She didn't just decide one day out of the blue, I'm gonna do this and that, man. Don't be fucking silly. She was approached by whoever, whatever, and they said, look, this is what you're gonna do, and that's the bottom line. These things are set up with higher powers pulling strings. She ain't doing that shit of her own accord. Otherwise, it would never have got that far. When things like this happen, there gotta be power men behind these things, man, giving it the green light. Right? It says a few hugely significant highlights. Vostok 18 mobilized 300,000 troops, 36,000 tanks and other vehicles, 1,000 aircraft and 80 ships. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, described it as the largest exercise since Zapad 81, the largest Cold War exercise that 37 years ago simulated invading NATO. All right, Vostok 18 apparently utilized other forces not advertised, including Russia's Mediterranean fleet fighting a real war in Syria, and the strategic rocket forces missile armies simulating a global nuclear World War III. Because eventually that's where it's going to have to go to. See, these nations are going to fight, but they're going to be put to a deadlock, and they're going to have to bring it to the next level. The Most High is beautiful, man. These nations, you see, a lot of people think it's just going to be, oh, okay, yeah, a pushover. Russia's just going to come in and push over America. No, it's going to be a real war. None of these. If it was going to be that easy of a pushover, they would have both pulled the trigger already. If either side thought, yep, I'll go in there, wipe them out in 2 days, everything's done, they would have done it. They know that the war is going to get serious. And the Lord wants it to get serious, because he wants these men and a lot of these women to be shipped over and die in this war. And I'm telling you, millions of men are going to have to be drafted in, and they're going to die in quick succession. Quick succession. This war is going to chew men up to the point where it's going to be like there's no men left, and they're going to have to go nuclear to end it. This war is going to chew men up, man, like a meat grinder, the great meat grinder, the Most High. Because the violence that both these, the destructive power that both these nations possess, just conventionally, is out of this world. All right. It says Vostok 18 apparently utilized other forces not advertised, including Russia's Mediterranean fleet fight in a real war in Syria and the strategic rocket forces missile armies simulating a global nuclear World War III. Vostok 18 is perhaps the biggest military exercise in the world history. These are the times we're living in. Vostok 18 was a joint Russia-China exercise because China is the main ally of Russia right now. But it's not the only ally. They got other allies. This is Ezekiel 38:1. It says, "And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal." Right? That's talking about Russia. "And prophesy against him," because of Russia, there's going to be a lot of dead Russians, man. Don't ever get that twisted. There's going to be a lot of dead Russians. There's going to be a lot of dead Chinese. There's going to be death on all sides of this coin, man. On both sides of the coin, there's going to be mass death. But America is the one that's going to end up being, the land is going to end up being completely destroyed with nuclear fire as judgment of Babylon the Great. "And say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws." What does it mean, turn thee back? The Soviet Union went to war against America in 1947, I believe. I think it was either 1947, 1948. Literally about 2-3 years after the end of World War II, the nuclear arms race began and a whole series of proxy wars began to be fought between the Soviet Union and America. The Cold War was pretty much World War III. It was World War III without direct conflict because they were at war. They were at war. They were covertly at war with each other. So that's why the scripture said the third woe cometh quickly, because there was no peace. There was no era of peace. Literally 2-3 years after World War II began, the Soviet Union and America began fighting against each other through proxy wars. Most of the wars that happened after World War II in different regions of the world were direct proxy wars between Russia and America, Afghanistan, Vietnam, and the list goes on. Even down to this very day, the proxy wars have started again. Ukraine, Syria. All right. So they were in the position where they were challenging to be challenging America for the dominancy over the earth. The Soviet Union versus America, and then America formed NATO, and different things happened that tipped the tide, and then Russia basically so-called lost the Cold War and went into sleep mode. But the Lord, beginning with Vladimir Putin and his tenure, has turned Russia back to the offensive nature that they had before against America. And now Russia is rallying the nations against America and NATO, both economically and militarily. That's why you got the BRICS. All right. That's why you got these drills. All right. So it says, "I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws and bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia," which is Iran, "Ethiopia, all right, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Goma and all his bands, the house of Togomar of the North Quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Alright? The China and all that. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself. Meaning what? Prepare yourself. That's what these drills are for. Thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee. China is assembled unto Russia. And be thou a guard unto them. Alright? So you see that. You see that happening. Alright, so it says, let's read through some more of this. Vostok 18 was a joint Russia-China exercise signifying de facto alliance against the United States. Russia and China conduct many joint military exercises because if you're going to go to war against another nation and you're going to have an ally, you need to practice coordinating your armies together. And that's exactly what they're doing. All right. Their nuclear collaboration began February 2001 in a combined nuclear war scenario against US over Taiwan. The Sino-Russian Friendship Treaty, July 2001, promises their military cooperation will further strategic stability and security around the world. Notice it says around the world because now Russia and China are more and more projecting their power globally, which is challenging the current power which has global dominance, which is America. They're becoming a direct threat to America's hegemony, America's empire. So what's going to be the outcome of that? When one bear encroaches on another bear's territory. All right, you already know what goes down. You ain't watch one of them programs. You need to watch some of them animal programs. You're gonna see what happens when one animal enters into another predator's territory. All right, it ain't nice. They don't have to sit down and drink tea and biscuits. There's blood and guts. All right, and someone has to bow down. Vostok 18, though conducted in Siberia, may well be full dress rehearsal for conquering NATO and practicing new nuclear warfighting techniques. Siberian operations are harder for the US to monitor, so new strategies and tactics can be exercised secretly. Alright? And they will go, I ain't going to read the whole thing, but they go into EMP attacks and all that good stuff. Alright? Because one of the ways you fight war is to
As came in and
logistics, take out their ability to move resources, take out their infrastructure. So
one
attacks and all that good
was
stuff.
holding a long shotgun. The other was holding a handgun. They had hoodies and masks on. The guy with the handgun walked to the back and started from the back, getting everybody's money. And meanwhile, the guy with the shotgun was kind of like put the gun right on his head, right on the shotgun, right on Charles's head. And I kind of like tensed up because I could have sworn that he was going to just take him out right there, man, And that's when I asked him, I said, my son's Mackenzie here, please don't shoot. And as he was coming back this way, he was patting everybody down, and I realized I had my firearm on me, and I didn't want him to pat me down. So I said, hey, my money is over there in my bag, in my jacket, on the seats, and he went looking for it. And when I had the opportunity, I took it to shoot.
Yeah, that's why a man is supposed to have his thing on him, But this society, they ESO don't allow you to defend yourself, man. That's crazy. But anyway, it's just a little video on the Vostok. Hey, this is gonna be a reality, man. When this war kicks into gear, there ain't gonna be no turning it back, man. Your whole world, you people out there, man, you've been so used to a status quo, to a certain way the world is. Your whole world is gonna crumble before your eyes, man. Everything your daily activities, everything, it's gonna completely change when all hell breaks loose, because there is going to be an event, and the event is coming, and that one event is going to cascade the world into utter hell, and you are going to be left in complete confusion, because why you didn't take heed to the men of the Lord. You're going to be left in that confusion, and you're going to die in that confusion. Thinking this is a joke, man. This is real, man. You see what these men are writing?
Хочу выразить особую признательность военнослужащим.
Them Russian tanks, they're going to come up against European cities. Them NATO tanks, they're going to come up against Russian cities. It's going to get real out here. You think you're in a war zone now? You're going to find out you think you ghetto and you gangster. But man, that ain't no fucking war zone, man. A war zone is when your whole block get blown up, man, and turn into rubble. That's a real war zone, man. Not a couple niggas doing drive-bys. No, when a tank roll up on your block with 50 cali on there, and it ain't drive-by, and it ain't leaving until everybody's dead. Everybody. Ain't no calling the cops. People going, man.
Китайской Народной Республики и Монголии.
Most of these men you see here, they're gonna die real quick. That's why they're gonna have to bring a draft. Most of these men that you see here, they're gonna die fast. That's why they're gonna need a draft.
Но наш долг перед Россией, обращаюсь сейчас к российским военнослужащим, наш долг перед нашей страной и Родиной в том, чтобы быть готовыми отстоять суверенитет, безопасность и национальные интересы нашей страны.
По приказу Верховного Главнокомандующего Вооруженными силами Российской Федерации это 300 тысяч военнослужащих, 36 тысяч в небе над полигоном Цугол пролетает командующий и комиссар Северного военного округа Народной освободительной армии Китая, генерал-лейтенант Ли Чао Мин, специальной мотострелковой бригады Монголии, бригадный генерал Алхат Васури, формирования в июле 1941 года. Под управлением гвардейцев 36-й отдельной Лазовской краснознаменной мотострелковой бригады Восточной за освобождение Манчжурии указом Президиума Верховного Совета СССР бригад Василием Ивановичем Чапаевым за героизм, проявленным Красным Знаменем. В боях с японскими милитаристами перед...
You think this is a game, man? Look, man, if you think this is a game, you're going to find out that it's not a game. This is reality. This is prophecy. And the end of this prophecy is going to be death and destruction. You get 2nd Ezra 16th chapter, man. And that's why, you know what, you people out there are you're so stupid. You lack the knowledge of history. Not only do you lack the knowledge of prophecy, first and foremost, you also lack the knowledge of history. So if you even had the basic understanding of history, you'd be like, oh, hold on, history is kind of repeating itself. You know, we're in terrible times, man. It seems like war is about to... But a lot of you people are so fucking stupid. Because all you do is watch the Kardashians and MTV. You have no fucking clue what's going on, man. What's about to come down on your dumb ass, man. And you got the nerve to come and want to score off against the men of the Lord, man. Oh, boy. Do you see, man, there's something about the moment, man. See, when something's in the future, it's shady. It's faded. You got to look real close with the eye to see it. But you know what, man? When it's in the moment, that's a whole... You see, like right now, you're hearing me talk to you. There's something special about that. It's real. It's right now. It's happening. We could talk about how terrible these things are going to be, but when you're actually in that moment, that nothing can compare to that moment, the moment of truth, the moment of reality. No movie, no nothing can compare to the smell, the taste, the touch, the feel, the raw emotion of the moment of reality, man. And you fucking scoffers, man, you're gonna experience, man. You're gonna have the experience of a fucking lifetime, of a world time, of a eon. All right. This is 2 Ezra 16 and 18. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Yeah, the Lord sends certain things here and there over the years, right? But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness. They're still going headlong into the same wicked ways, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be sold good cheap upon earth. They shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And what does it mean by the great confusion? See, when all hell breaks loose, the majority of people won't have no fucking idea how and why it's happening. And that's going to add even more to the madness, because they're stupid and dumbed down and they got no idea. It's going to be out of the blue. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. The dead shall be cast out as dung. And notice it said that dwell upon the earth. Because like I told, this is going to be a world war. This ain't going to be no little thing, little pie thing. Like how you got like wars now and you can watch it on the news sitting there eating your dinner and it's happening somewhere you can't point out on a map. It's coming to where you at. All right? You better believe that. All right? And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. All these cities are going to be brought low in this war, because it's going to be a global war, and all these nations are going to be involved. And they're going to be targeting each other's cities, man. All right? There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? You know what that represents? Mass depopulation, man. That's how mad the war is going to be. All right? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be 10 left, and 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks. As in the orchard of olives, upon every tree there are left 3 or 4 olives, or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters, and of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall go full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. So a lot of these men are going to be getting drafted, man, and going to be fighting, and they're going to be getting killed. And their husbands shall perish of famine. Hear now these things, and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Yeah, it's time to turn away from idolatry, man, and come back to where the truth is at, which is with Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. Right? The truth ain't in these churches, ain't in these mosques, ain't in nothing else but in the Holy Bible and the truth of the Holy Bible, which is being taught by the Hebrew Israelites, beginning with the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, in the name of Yahweh, the Father, the Most High Power, and his blessed Son, Yahweh Shai, point blank, period. And if you ain't underneath that, you finished. All right? Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As when a woman with child in 9 months bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. And the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. So there ain't gonna be no safe zone. Hey, you better repent, for the kingdom of heaven is nigh. Shalom.